going to be solving backwards from the unit circle. So we're going to be solving for the angles now. So in this first example, we're given sine of x equals 1/2, which means the y value of some angle or angles is 1/2. And again, I would write out your first quadrant like that instead of writing out more. That would take more time. But we have sine of x equals 1/2, y value is 1/2, that's this one, the one closer to the x-axis, which is pi over 6. But we also have a y value of positive 1/2, so it needs to be going up here, and that is 5 pi over 6. And we're only solving between 0 and 2 pi here, so these would be our only answers. Cosine of x equals negative square root of 2 over 2. Radical 2 over 2 is here, but we need the x value to be negative radical 2 over 2, which means it's going to be where we're going to the left, and these two are going left. That would be 3 pi over 4. This is 4 pi over 4, but that's not negative radical 2 over 2, and then 5 pi over 4 is here. And both of those angles have an x value of negative radical 2 over 2. Tangent is harder. We have a y over x value of 1. So when you divide the y by the x, they have to cancel and get 1. That's going to be one of your radical 2 over 2's because those are the same coordinate. And it has to either be positive, positive, or negative, negative in order to divide and get a positive. That's going to be here and here. Pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. Tangent of x equals 0. We have to divide y by x and get 0 because we're looking at tangent. That's going to be one of our quadrantal angles. And I like to just list them all out when I have a problem like this so I can just kind of see what I have. Y divided by x, 0 has to be in the numerator. It's going to be these two because you'd have 0 over negative 1, which is 0, or 0 over 1, which is 0. So that would be 0 and pi, assuming that we're solving all angles from 0 to 2 pi. And finally, we have tangent of x equals radical 3. This one, I know it's going to involve either the 1/2 radical 3 over 2 or the radical 3 over 2 1/2 because I see a radical 3. And until you have this memorized, I would just guess and check. So it could either be 1/2 radical 3 over 2 before looking at negatives or radical 3 over 2 1/2. I'm going to start with that one. Radical 3 over 2 over 1/2. Let's simplify it and see if we get radical 3. I'm going to multiply both by 2. 2's cancel. We get radical 3 over 1, which is radical 3. So that one did work. This is the right coordinate. Now we need to find the angle or angles that give us this. And that's going to be pi over 3, but both of them can also be negative in order to divide and get a radical 3. So that's going to be pi over 3, 4 pi over 3.